In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the pulse sequencer on the Buchla music easel. There is sometimes some confusion in regards to the way that the pulse sequencer actually works, especially with new easel owners, including myself when I first got my music easel. So what we have going on here is fairly simple. We have a self-sequencing pulsar acting as our main clock, which is triggering our envelope generator. You can see those in time. We can slow it down, and we can speed it up. We also have the SVS, or the sequential voltage source, also known as the 5-step sequencer, being driven by the pulsar. So now if we bring up the volume, we can hear what we have going on. We just have the pulsar triggering the low-pass gate 2 of the modulation oscillator, and the envelope generator is triggering the complex oscillator through low-pass gate 1 with just a super simple 5-step sequence, nothing fancy here. And a little bit of spring reverb. So now, when I first got my easel, I realized that this obviously takes us from 5 to only 4 or only 3 steps of the sequence. But I realized that I could flip these as much as I wanted and nothing was changing. And I didn't really understand what the correlation of these switches had with these 5 sliders, as these did not appear to mute or disengage these steps as I thought they would have. So what you actually need to do is you'll notice that the envelope generator can be triggered by the sequencer. So the up position of these knobs is on and the lower position is off. So we're going to set the envelope generator to sequencer. And we'll see that we still get a constant pulse of the envelope due to all of these steps being on. But what we'll do now is take them out one by one. So now the sequencer is still going through 5 steps, but the envelope is only being triggered by the first 4. It's a little hard to see here, so we'll take off a couple more steps. Now we see clearly that only the first 2 steps are triggering the envelope generator. This allows us to actually get a 1 and a 2-step sequence. If we lower the volume here on the modulation oscillator so that we only hear the envelope generator triggering the complex oscillator, we now have a 2-step sequence, or 1. This allows us to get interesting rhythms by engaging certain steps. Now let's go ahead and bring back in the steady pulse on the modulation oscillator. You can even turn them all off. Bring down the mod oscillator. We now get nothing. We can get single pulses sent to the envelope generator. Now, also, if we set the pulsar to keyboard, or I apologize, if we set the pulsar to sequencer, and we set the sequencer to keyboard, when we turn on the arpeggiator, now this is a 3-step arpeggiation. I'll speed it up. But it's really only firing when the pulse sequences are engaged. So now both the pulsar and the envelope generator are being triggered by the 5-pulse sequencer here, not to be confused with the voltage sequences associated with the sliders. So now we'll see we get nothing. soon as we engage a step, we're now getting pulses and envelopes on just those steps. Go ahead and set this back to self. Set this to pulsar. And we can still disengage steps here. All on, all off. And when we set this back to pulsar, these switches now do absolutely nothing and can be left in any position without affecting your patch. So I hope that helps someone out there understand their easel a little bit more, as I admit I did have some confusion when I first got it. Cheers.